lovely Flosstube friends, long time no see. Apologies about the appearance. I'm working from home. It's rather warm here, which I'm not complaining about because I do love a bit of warmth, but I couldn't be bothered to put any makeup on or do my hair. So you've got me exactly as I am when I'm working from home. So all exciting stuff. Where have I been? Oh, I've been busy in the garden, I've been busy working, not really getting much stitching in, but, well, I say I don't think I was getting much stitching in, but I've actually got a lot more stitching in than I realised, so probably not massive amounts like in the winter and when it was colder outside, but maybe a little bit more than I thought I had. So I've had a few messages asking me where I am and if I'm okay, and as you can see I'm very much okay. Rather getting back into my usual me style of doing stuff, so very busy and into everything, loads of action going on. You'll see my little companion on the chair in his pride of place on Mummy's special chair, which Mummy's not happy about because it should have a cover on it whilst he's on there, but he got there before the cover got on. So anyway, I hope everyone is wonderful and having a fabulous time in the spring and enjoying a little bit of warm weather, which at last seems to have arrived in the UK. Although, if you hear the odd rumble, that's because we're in the middle of a bit of a, well, it's not a thunderstorm, but there's a few claps of thunder and a little bit of lightning every now and then, and it's really, really muggy and warm. So down to what we've got. Like I said, there's not a massive amount, hence the reason why I haven't really done a video since, I think it was March, end of March I think was my last video. I just didn't see the point of doing a video just to say hello, and I haven't got anything to show you because I haven't done anything. So I thought I'm better to just wait until I've got something to show you and something to talk about, and then I can show you what I've been doing. So without further ado, where to start? Well, okay, well let's start on this one. So you remember I was sort of saying about the train situation and that I needed some projects for on the train, and I've got the little Q snaps, and I've got the real Q snaps rather than the R&Rs that we normally get in the UK. I'm loving them. They're really, really helpful, really helpful. But when I got it, I did struggle with the what do I do with all the fabric. So I done a little bit of purchasing, not a massive amount. So I think it was on Etsy, and it was called Stitchy Time Creations. That's her card. Oh, sorry about the glare. Stitchy Time Creations. And I purchased a Q-snap for an 8x8, and it's got butterflies on it. And it was so cute and lovely that I purchased one of those, and it worked perfectly for this new little project of mine. So, project number one, which was a new start in comparison to all the other ones. But obviously I needed something small for on the train. So it was the Art of Simplicity. This was gifted to me by my friend Mary, who was away on the Stitchy retreat with me. Hello Mary. So this one was designed by Lisa, and I haven't got massive amounts of progress on it, but then this is like my train project, so it's literally used just for when I'm commuting backwards and forwards to London. So, God, it's really different. These are so much better than the R&Rs. So yeah, not massive amounts, and it's going to be all scrunched up because it's just literally coming off the Q-snap as we speak. But this is my progress. Oh God, it's really messy. I'll see if I can give it a tug. So this is the progress so far. So we're nearly down on the butterfly, and then I can do the writing. Oh, and I've got a new needle winder as well, which has got a little matching butterfly on it because I quite like the butterflies. So yeah, this project, I decided to go with my own variegated thread. So I went with Karen Water what is it? Karen something or another. Let me have a look in the little project bag. She says when she finds it. Yeah, it's Wildflowers by Karen. And I decided to use, what colour is it? Orchid. And it's such a lovely colour. Can you see that? It's like a purpley pink colour. And at first I was a bit unsure because I've used one thread. Where it's slightly ridgy, it wasn't as easy to work with to straight off to start with. But once I got into the swing of things, I thought it'd come up quite well, and I really, really like the variegation. So, project number 1, butterfly nearly done. So yeah, so that's the train project that I've been working on. Really enjoying doing that. Although I do find that because I'm on the train and it's while I'm commuting and the holding it and stuff, it looks a bit dirty. So, but because I've used this type of floss, I'm not sure whether I can wash it. I am tempted to try and wash it in cold water and see what happens. Because it's a little project, I'm thinking, well, if I ruin it, it is only actually a little project and I could always redo it, but it's not ideal. So, but yeah, I think I might try and wash it in cold water. So there we go. So that's project number 1. So as you'll see, I have been doing my commuting stitching, which is always a great thing, because when you're doing 4 hours of commuting a day, it gets really quite tiresome. And I think about 4 times I ended up missing my own stop because I kept falling asleep. So whilst I'm stitching, I'm not falling asleep, which is always a good thing. You'll have to ignore the little bleeps as well, because that's my laptop bleeping at me, because I'm actually on my lunch break, but my boss is out in the States, so it's around lunchtime here, so he's just starting to wake up, so there's little things pinging and bobbling around it on there, so ignore the noise. Next we have my twisted band sampler. Now I haven't really been working on this very much, and it's by Northern Expression Needleworks. Ignore the colours. This is where my printer had a bit of a printer meltdown, but that's the design, but not the colours. So, and at first the way I was doing this was actually doing each band, which is fine while I was working on the actual frames, doing it that way. But when I decided that I would put and use it on a Q-snap, or do it on a Q-snap, I found that I got a bit tired with keep moving it around. So I decided that I was going to do it per page like I do for everything else. And that's not so bad. And that way I'm not getting quite so bored with doing the same colour all the time as well. But again, I've just finished a page. So I have a page finish on this one. So let's get him out of his little cover. Unravel him and show you where we've got to. I should have really been more organised, shouldn't I? And had this off the Q-snap already. But I'm sort of working whilst I'm doing this, and I'm talking to you on my lunch break, so I didn't really have time to get that organised. You know, working from home isn't as relaxing or as chilled out as people might think it is, because in actual fact, when you work from home and you've got a system like we have, where basically there's a little thing that shows whether you're online or offline, or whether you've sort of stepped away from the computer, you do have this feeling that you have to make sure that you're apparently there and active more than you would say if you was in the office and stepped out for a cup of coffee or for a quick chat. Or so working from home does have upsides in the respect that I can look like I do, no makeup, not really worry about doing my hair, walk around in t-shirts and jeans, but you do tend to find that you don't take a lunch break, you don't really step away from your computer in fear that people think that you're sort of taking the mickey because you're working from home. So it has upsides and downsides. Okay, so back to Twisted Band Sampler. So this is the progress on the Twisted Band Sampler. So as you can see where the page, where I carried on with the page So these were the bits that I'd done before. So this is the portion that I've been doing in per page whilst it's on the Q-snap. So just started on a new colour. Not quite sure what I think of that green, but it seems to be blending. So yeah, so I'm quite pleased with the progress on that, considering that was sort of being neglected, this one. It was like my neglected project. But now it's on the Q-snap, I tend to find that when I'm sitting here and I'm on a conference call, or there's something that I need to listen to but not actively do anything, this is the perfect project for that. But this was always the project where it was like, well, it gets done when it gets done. I'm in no rush. But then, to be honest, I'm not in any rush to do any of them. Literally, it's a hobby, isn't it? So you do it when you can do it. And if you can't do it, you know, cut yourself some slack. Well, that's my way of looking at it these days. I've become really quite chilled out in old age. That's my... Whereas before it would be driving me crazy that I'm not getting to it as much as I would. Now I'm like, well, it's a hobby. If this starts to get stressful, then it's no longer a hobby for me because it's stressing me out. I don't need any help stressing myself out. I have work and all sorts of things that can help me do that. So yeah, so that is the Twisted Band Sampler. So again, a little bit of project. Little project, although it's not a little project, but it's one of those projects that you can put on a Q-snap. I'll get to it when I get to it. Next up, now we move on to the bigger projects. So of course we're talking Heaven and Earth designs. Where to start? Let's start with this one. So this is my alternative reality. I do love this one. And this is my first time doing 25 count 1/1. Still totally loving it. Is a little bit more testing on the old eyeballs after a day at work. But the more I'm doing it, the more I get used to it. So last time you saw it, I think it was on a page finish. So this is where we're up to now. So you probably can't see a lot. I mean, well, this bit here is the top of a building. And this bit here I think is the start of another section, but not really got to any real serious detail as yet, but it's getting there. It is getting there. So, and you can see that there's trees. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll get to it when I can get to it. The only thing is that when you're working on 25 count 1/1, sometimes you'll be stitching for a couple of hours and you look at it and you think, I haven't really touched much of it. It doesn't even make a dent in it. But it is, because, well, as far as I'm concerned, even if I only get 10 stitches in a night, it's still 10 stitches more than I would have got if I hadn't have picked it up. So yeah, so really loving that one. That one is currently the one that I'm working on. But it's due to go out. What I've been trying to do is, rather than rotating, as in every week I rotate, because there's some weeks that I barely touch any stitching, and then there's other weeks where I do lots of stitching, or a lot more stitching. I thought, well, the rotation isn't going to work anymore, because I can't be working for loads on one week and then not on another. So where I only do a few days of stitching, if that, or you know, a couple of hours in a week, I'll hang on to that one and I'll stitch it for a whole nother week, just so that I can get a bit more forwards with it before I switch it out. And then if I'm working on something that I'm really, really loving, then I can't help myself and I'll carry on stitching. So yeah, no pressure. I think that's what I've tried to do now, because obviously circumstances have changed so that I'm back to work and I don't have the free time and I can't just sit and stitch for hours at a time. I've had to jiggle it around a little bit and be flexible with the hobbies. With all the gardening and the sunny weather, because I love the sun, or I love it when it's warm. And I don't know about you, I tried to take my stitching outside and do my stitching out in the garden, but it's so bright out there that I can't see to stitch because it's just too bright. So I tend to find that even on a sunny day I won't take my stitching out in the garden. I'll potter around in the garden and sit and drink coffee and read magazines. But then when I come in the evening, I'll do a couple of hours of stitching. I find that seems to be working for me. So I think I'll just continue that. And then obviously I'll probably end up doing more stitching in autumn and winter than I do in spring and summer. But I'm fine with that. The fact that as long as I do some stitching, I think that's all that really bothers me. So, what's next? Next up is Grace Faces. Now, I can't remember when I last showed you this one. So, just in case I have worked on it some more since I last spoke to you, I thought I'd show it again. So, here we have QS Grace Faces. This is the next one that's coming into rotation. But like I said, I didn't even check back on the last video to see where I last showed you and whether I've actually worked on it since we last spoke. So if you have already seen it at this point, then I'm sorry, you have to see it again. So here we go. QS Grace Faces. This one is the one on 18 count. Is it 18 count? Yeah, 18 count 2/1. And this was where I've got to. Still totally loving the colours. Obviously the remainders of the challenge that I did. The challenge which was do a page, individual colours, one colour at a time. I've not done that. I know I won't be able to do it because I can't do cross country and my counting's appalling when it comes to trying to count stitches. So I accepted defeat on that one, and I'll pick it up on the next challenge, or a challenge that's coming up next. I am actually due another page finish. There's not much to do to get another page finish on this one, so I think I might pull this one out and do to a page finish, and then switch out again, because this one's actually got quite a lot already going on it. But yeah, so this is the next one in. So hopefully either tonight or tomorrow this one will go on the frame and come out to play, because you do like a little change and a little bit of something a little bit different each and every other week, as and when you can. So yeah, so QS Grace Faces. And finally, see what I mean? This is how very little I've done, not a lot. So finally is the lovely lady. We all know who I'm talking about, and that is my Roses of Provence. And you'll remember that I was sort of undecided what to do with her, and you know, do I carry on doing more skirt or do I do something else? And well, me being me, couldn't resist myself, decided that I would, you know, just wing it and go crazy. So that's exactly what we did. So let's show you where we're at now. Although she hasn't been in rotation for quite a few weeks now, I'm not sure how long I haven't worked on it for, but she's definitely in a different spot to the last time you saw her. So had to do this. It's always so tricky with these bigger projects, isn't it, to try and show them. Oh, park threads everywhere. Okay, so the decision was made that the skirt was just becoming really quite tedious for me, so I moved on to a face and a shoulder. So yes, we moved on to skin. So here it is. Haven't done amazing amounts, but something's better than nothing. So I decided 1/1 on the skin. It is tiddy and it is really hard to not lose yourself in it, but I really love the effect that it gives having it in the 1/1 on the skin. I'm really impressed with that. So, but yeah, so there she is in all her glory. And I'll think that what I'll do is when she comes back out, I'll do, I don't know, 200 stitches on the skirt, then move back up to her head, and then 200 small stitches, and then go back down to the bottom, because I think that's the only way that I'm going to get through the skirt and get through the skin without torturing myself. And honestly, you don't realise how big this lovely lady is. She is adorable, and I really can't wait to get some beads on her. But you don't realise how big she is until you're actually doing her. And it's like, wow, she's enormous. I mean, I don't know, are all the Mirabilias that way? Are they all this big, or is she like an exception to the rule? I mean, I love her, but she goes on and on and on. But it's just going to be so nice to have her finished. And then probably, I'm undecided whether I want to hang her in here, in my stitchy room, stroke office, or whether I want to hang her out in the living room or the hallway where everybody else can see her. So that's, again, an undecided place to put her. But, again, another one, it will get done when it gets done. There's no pressure, none whatsoever. And since I've become really quite chilled in my old age, I'm not setting any amazing targets. I've barely been on Facebook. I've barely been on YouTube. I've posted on Instagram maybe twice. I don't know how you guys do it. How do you find the time to do everything? To do the stitching, answer comments on other people's videos, then go on Instagram. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. As well as obviously all the housework and the gardening and I don't know. I need to become a lady of leisure is what I need. But that isn't going to happen. So I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that I'll be a kept lady, because that's not going to happen. If that was going to happen, it would have happened when my child was smaller, and that didn't happen. So, but I'm fine with that. So I don't feel hard done by any stretch of the imagination. So yes, that's it. I mean, it is that small, short, sweet. We're done. I would love to say I'll see you again in a month, but there's a likelihood that that won't happen. It all really depends on how much stitching I get in. If I get lots of stitching done, or even a bit of stitching so that I've actually got something to show you, then of course I will do a video. But I'm not going to do a video just for the sake of saying, hello everybody, I've been gardening and I've done this and I've done that, but I've got nothing to share with you. So I like to make sure that I have something to show or something to talk about. I haven't purchased. I've been exceptionally good. So the only purchase I made was my new little needle minder that I showed you, the butterfly one. My butterfly Q-snap cover. And of course, to do a video, it just couldn't possibly be one of my videos without a camera failure. So sorry about that. Small camera failure as usual. Where was I? Yep, purchases. So haven't really done much purchasing other than the bits that I've already showed you. The only other thing that I purchased, and this was a tip that I got when I was at the Stitchy retreat back at the beginning of the year. Someone was saying about a snag needle. I'd never seen one before, but this is a snag needle. So when you've got rather untidy stitches, you poke it through and pull it, and it straightens all the stitches out, so that if you've got any bobbly bits, especially if you're using two strands of thread, one strand of thread you don't need it, 2 strands of thread. But I thought, do you know what, I've never seen one, never seen anyone talk about one, never seen one, and now I know what it is. And I got this from so and so. I think it was like £1.20 something, but yeah, so I've got it, haven't even used it yet, but I don't know, once QS Grey's Faces come out I might trial it. That's it. We're done. Over. Yeah. Oh, I mean, honestly, it's been a whirlwind with so much going on, and I am really sorry for those that have left me lovely messages to say, Teresa, where are you? We miss you. Come back. I am here. I am in the background. I'm in the distance. When I can, I catch up and I watch a few Flosstube videos. I'm just as bad as the next person. Not very good at the commenting, but I do hit the like button a lot. So yeah, I will be back with you as soon as I've got something else to show. I hope you're all enjoying some nice weather. Fingers crossed the UK gets a bit more actual summer instead of this hit and miss that we keep getting. But yeah, I will see you on the next video, which will be whenever it is. And until then, bye bye.